Hi, friends. I'm Sean, host of the Stories That Empower podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If you're struggling right now, I want you to know there's hope and light for you. Every week, I interview someone just like you who's overcome a challenge, loss, setback, or trauma. I can't wait to share the nuggets of life wisdom that are embedded in their life stories. Please know this: you are not alone, you are loved. If you've been enjoying this podcast, please consider making a donation to help offset the production cost at storiesthatempower.com. I've got a great guest for you today, so let's get started. Hi, friends. Gene Walters and I bring you another episode of Unlocking Your Brilliance. Welcome back, Gene. It's good to hear.
Hey.
Good to have you here again.
Yes, it's great. It's great to be back. Thank you so much, Sean, for inviting me.
Of course. Gene, I feel like it's been such a long time since we chatted. What have you been up to? What's new with you these days?
Well, it seems like life has picked up its pace a little bit. I just did a bookstore's book signing and presentation the other day, and that was really fun. And then I just noticed my book sales went up. Yay! So I don't know, it just life is flowing nicely, and it seems like lots of good things happen every day. I'm happy.
That makes me happy as well. I'm so happy to hear that good things are happening for you. I've been thinking about what I wanted to discuss with you today, and I have an idea that I want to
Oh,
run
good.
by you, see if you're okay with it.
Sure.
So it's actually a realization, an observation about myself that happened very recently. And if I were to summarize the observation, it would be, I realize how much my body carries and holds with regards to my feelings and emotions,
Yes. Yes.
if that makes any sense.
Totally. Totally.
And,
Yes. Yes.
and I actually have a specific example. If may I share it with you?
Absolutely. Yes. This is what people talk to me about all the time, by the way.
So I'd been feeling off, but I didn't know why. And
Hmm.
I really thought the source was one thing, the source was A,
Hmm.
but I came to find out by pure accident that it had nothing to do with A. It was actually B.
By
And
accident.
by accident.
Which I call a miracle, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I know you love that word, and I'm learning to love it as well.
Well, it's like the
Um,
universe communicating with you, but it showed up as a accident.
it showed up as an accident. And specifically, so I think at the time I didn't know what was happening, but I got clarity. So now I'm kind of going back in time, um, just putting the building blocks to say, like, I think these building blocks are kind of connected. So what happened was I maybe because I was feeling off,
Mhm.
I resumed I resumed doing, early morning meditation
Mhm.
and yoga stretches, which I had not been doing for some time. And I had been, I was doing that for a few days.
Mhm.
And so one day I was in my car, and in my car I came across something that my mom gave me before she passed away. And it's something very little. It's actually just a small, stone that was meaningful to her. And
Mhm.
Gene, I am not joking. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I encountered a flood of tears just coming.
Yes.
And it was like a tsunami, and it would not stop.
Oh,
And
I would
fortunate,
say that's beautiful, by the way.
is it
Go
beautiful?
ahead. Yes, beautiful.
And I've learned, not to fight it, not to resist. You just go with it, be
Yes,
be in that
yeah.
moment. And so that went on for some time, and
Mhm.
eventually, of course, there was an end, there was closure. I felt significantly lighter
Yeah.
afterwards. But to kind of recap again, my thought is that what I realized is that something had been bottled up and needed
Mhm.
to be released.
Yes, 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 yes. And you started with the meditation and the yoga. The yoga kind of worked through your body to get, to start letting those emotions connect and come through, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, I think people dismiss that kind of work, but to me, it's way more important than going to the doctor or, I mean, I'm not putting that down, but I feel like we've got to do this inner work and release those bottled up emotions. But I mean, what a beautiful thing, because even though it came as tears, it was probably remembering your mom and tears of joy and tears of appreciation and all of that had to come through for your body to now be the light being that is designed to be. So I congratulate you on that, because especially for men, I think it's harder because of our cultural training, that to really allow those kinds of things to happen, but they're so revelatory. And just that little, I don't dismiss those little charms or those little today I found a feather floating outside my door because there was dust there. And and a feather represents to me the angels. The angels are with you. You've got attention of the angels today, which I was doing an angel meditation. And you might call it an accident, but I call it synchronicity. That everything's in alignment, and when you're saying to yourself, something's off, I need some help here, I wonder what it is. And then this stone, you'd happen to notice the stone. It was there the whole time, but today was the day you noticed it. So yeah, it's synchronicity. And what a beautiful thing, because it shows how connected we all are, we're always connected.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Speaking of earlier, I may have mentioned the word awareness. I wonder whether, what are your thoughts? I wonder whether awareness is like a muscle, because years ago, not only did I not know like what I would be going through at a certain time and why, but even afterwards, after the fact, like I just couldn't connect the dots. I didn't have that experience or that maturity to have that awareness, but it feels I'm not a master of it today, but I'm in a much better place.
Yeah.
Does that any of that make sense?
John, we were not trained to connect the dots, and that's why we go. People in our culture are so interested in how many college degrees you have, but I keep saying that keeps you in your head, and we need to move into our heart. And we're not going to. I don't know that you can get that from college, but there's lots of training out there. I mean, even yoga, like you said, is a way that we can get into our heart more. And that's where we begin to recognize that everything in the universe is constantly giving us a signal, a sign, something is guiding us the whole time. And all we have to do is ask. How about that? Just ask, and then we keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. And it's so funny, because I think sometimes I'll turn on the TV and there'll be one sentence somebody says, and it's like, oh, there it is. Or, you go to the bookstore. I've heard people say they went to the bookstore and a book fell on their head. They put it back, and then it fell on their head 3 times, and then they went, okay, I got it. I'm buying the book. Okay, Gary. And so it comes in so many different ways, and I am so appreciative of it. And I just think that that's the new energy that we're moving into, and we get to kind of help and guide people to see it. And I think that's an honor. It's a privilege.
Let me take us back for one moment. I remember, maybe it was our last awesome conversation we had together. So the word simplicity comes to mind.
Mhm.
And I think I think you were, and also I'm trying to think of the word that you used. It might have been transition.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a period of transition, and I visualize the word simplicity.
Yes.
So how are you doing these days with regards to that? Is that still a part of you today?
I think it will always be a part of me. I think it always has been a part of me because I think, like when people live in great big houses, to me, and I have nothing against that. Okay, but I think that's more to take care of. Yeah, more things calling on you, to fix me or to paint me or to do something with it. And so for me, I mean, I have a nice home, but I keep it simple because I don't want it to be my life, So that's just one example. But in my work, I just have been taking more time off. And it's been good because one, I get to spend more time with my kids these days, but they're all grown. But also the second thing is that I just get to be out in nature since it's so beautiful right now. Even if it's hot, it's beautiful. And I think that restores my soul too. So I just think it's time for me to just move into that different kind of energy where I'm not working all the time. I'm not staying late at the office all the time. I'm really like conducting my life a little bit differently. I feel like that's my message that's been spoken to me that it's time.
I think I may have mentioned last time that we spoke that I sensed more ground. I mean, you've always struck me as someone who's very grounded. There's a lot of,
Mhm.
and I'm just
Yeah.
amazed at all the wisdom that oozes out of you. Um, but even today, and I
Mhm.
think maybe we haven't talked in say 2 months or something, but even today, um, you sound to me like you're even much more grounded than previously. Like
Yeah.
extreme inner peace, extreme groundedness. That's what I sense today.
Well, thank you so much. I kind of feel like it goes to acceptance, just accepting what is, and as I mentioned a while back, I had this little health challenge, and it was speaking to me like, slow it down, change your life pattern, get into a different rhythm, and so that's what I've done. And I think that's what you're picking up. But I picked that up from you today too, that you were in a different place too. But so I would say the light is shining more, wouldn't you say that? Just we're allowing the light to come through more, and we are light anyway, but we get to sometimes we block it, and people block it by opinions and judgments and resistance and just not going with the flow and things like that. And I think the more that you mature, I think it's a spiritual maturity. You learn to let a lot of that go. And here you are, your folks have passed for a while now, and you're at another whole stage of just appreciating them, I just see that so beautiful.
No, you're absolutely right. When I look back, I think I was allowing myself, my body, my mind, my spirit to block several things that were stacking up on top of each other,
Mm-hmm.
several separate things.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not deal with them individually. And, you know, there's a limit for everything, right? There's a
Right,
breaking point
right.
for everything.
But Sean, sometimes in life we're so busy getting this done and getting that done and taking care of this, and they're all important things. So it's sometimes because of all that we have to at some point take time and go, okay, what's been going on? What do I need right now? How can I just be in this moment? And so I don't think we should fault ourselves when that stuff happens. It's just that it happens, and so we have to do some self-care. But we weren't raised to do that, Sean. We weren't raised to self-care. What is that? Are you being selfish now? Yeah, in a way. But as I teach people this all the time, like there's a high selfish and a low selfish. High selfish is going, I need to take some quiet time today and as a result of that, you're better with your boss, your customers, your family, you're better. And when we do low selfish, it's like, sometimes people do low selfish. Well, you have to be at work no matter what. You're sick, it doesn't matter, you have to be here. That's kind of low selfish, or you have to come and visit me even though I know you're too busy and you don't have time and I want you to come anyway. And so that's when we're just not looking at the other person to see what their need is. But we have thrown everything into one category of selfishness, but it's not that simple. And so I think I tell people all the time, I have 2 hours in the morning that are mine. I need those 2 hours. So those 2 hours, I connect with spirit, I do my meditation, I read, I study, I do whatever I need to do to be completely present the rest of the day and to really feel connected. Now, I feel like that's a huge gift to everybody else, but it's a huge gift to me as well. And it's just not negotiable. I mean, I have to have that. And I think that's kind of more what you're talking about. You're moving into that perhaps more. You have done that though. I mean, I know you've done it regularly, but maybe you've seen more the importance of it too.
No, you're absolutely correct. I realized a while back, how good I feel when I meditate, like you said, first thing in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and do some stretches, perhaps some yoga stretches,
Oh,
and it's funny. It's like so far I've just been. It's not something that I have been doing consistently
mm-hmm.
over a long period of time. I tend to lean to it. I tend to
Yeah.
pull it off the shelf,
Mhm.
dust it off and say, okay, it's things are really hectic right now. I need to feel grounded, whatever. I need some of that. It's good to know it exists. It's good to know that it helps
Uh,
me. Um, I know
to
deep
have your
down,
method too.
I'm
To have
sorry.
your method, to have your method of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel I know deep down inside I feel like I think I would just enjoy integrating it as part of my daily
Yeah.
routine.
I think
And
you're being asked to do that, by the way.
hmm,
Yeah, I think you're being asked to do that. And it can be 15 minutes, it can be an hour. I mean, I'm a hog about it, so I want 2 hours. But I don't always get it. I mean, I
mhm.
do most of the time because I make it that priority, but once in a while life calls and you just have to go. Yeah. But I think the whole world would be a better place if everybody meditated. I mean, I don't really think we could do war if everybody meditated. I think it would put us into such a different state that we couldn't imagine hurting somebody else.
So circling back for a moment, earlier
Mhm.
we were talking about the word transition for you.
Yeah.
Um, any any other examples of that right now? We talked about simplicity. So tell us a little more about you and your journey. Where are you and how's that looking for you?
Well, I'm doing the very same things I've always done. I brought my office home. I closed my business office and now it's my business office is at home, but I have a beautiful space that looks out onto what previously was a golf course. So it's a very woodsy and, perfect. And so I'm enjoying that. And I don't know, I pretty much stay with the same routines and everything. I'm not out so much in the evening. I was dancing a lot. I'm not dancing as much. It's not that I don't like dancing. I love dancing. It's another way to bring the energy through, and so I don't know, but it's fun to me to watch other people because I notice a lot of everyone's changing. So I had a guy come in this week. Now, he's a very special evolved guy, but practically the first thing he said to me was like, I love my spirit time. And he's been a businessman for a very long time, does really well. And he spends a couple hours in the morning just doing whatever he calls spirit time, meditating, different things. And I've been getting more and more of that. So to me, that's not only me changing, but I'm noticing the whole world shifting, that this is what people are wanting more of. And I don't know if the media understands that, but less and less, I mean, people are just not tuning in to the world news because it's so disruptive, you know. And a friend of mine said the other day, like, well, let's go see this new movie. And the previews were noisy, like, wait, I said, I can't see that movie. I have nothing against those particular actors, but it's too much noise. So you might say that's another way. It's not that I've ever liked noise, but it was just too much. It was overwhelming. So I knew I'd have to leave probably halfway through or something. So that's one way, I suppose those are subtle ways that you notice that you're changing. I think you're the same way, to tell you the truth, that you probably wouldn't have liked the movie either, even though it's probably a wonderful plot. The music they put on is just too much. It's like, stop.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you know me too well. I think,
You have a softness and a quietness about you, which is a compliment,
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And it's mutual. I feel it
Yeah.
in you as well. Couple observations to share with you real quick, or to build
Okay.
on what you just said. That yes, I agree. I've also noticed a shift in myself and people around me,
Mhm.
everybody. One, and maybe the pandemic was the catalyst. I'm not sure, but anyways,
Mhm.
one thing I've noticed is people, and it's actually, the changes, in my opinion, they're refreshing. I mean, it's
Yes.
it's wonderful. For example, I see people focusing more on relationships, the
Mhm.
quality of their relationships.
Yeah.
I see people focusing more on experiences versus tangible goods.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that's one thing that I see. The other thing that I see is, yeah, I think people are not afraid to seek and to say what brings them joy,
Mhm.
and they're not afraid to go after those.
Mhm.
I mean, as long as, of course, it's in balance with other things,
Mhm.
but just making that a priority.
Mhm.
Um,
I would say one more thing, and that
mhm.
they're more willing to seek help.
Yes.
I mean, years ago when I started with my work, years ago, it was like, I'm seeing a counselor, and now it's like, oh yeah, I've got my person, I've got my coach. Yeah. It was a funny story though. You want a funny story? So there was a group of women that did a book club here in St. Louis, and they would say, well, my coach said this, and they go, oh yeah, okay, well, my coach said that too. And then there was like 5 or 6 women in this club, and they was talking about what their coaches had told them, and it ended up that I was the coach to all of them. And I heard this story, like they start laughing, like, who is your coach? She says the same thing mine does. And I thought it was so cute. But to me, that's just another thing where it's coming out in the open, and people are seeking help and they're willing to talk about it. It's beautiful. I agree with you though, Sean, that pandemic was such a catalyst. I think it's like it was, if I'm going to get spiritual on you here, but I just feel like the universe said, we have to do a radical change because you guys need some help. And so, you have to go to your room for a while now and be quiet. And so we can look at it like all these things happen and that people got ill and all that. Yeah, we can look at that. But to me, it goes deeper than that, that we were involved in this radical change. It was ultimately good, even though there were, just like all change, really, there were things that were left behind and so forth. And then after that, and then here we are now. And I don't know if today I heard there's a writer's strike and there's all Hollywood is all on strike. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because it's like, okay, we're not going to produce all these shows and stuff that you guys love. But it's like, again, it's like, be quiet. And so I feel like this be quiet thing is still there, and 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 in a way there's a balancing, that whole structure is now needing to be balanced. So I know that most people are going to look at it like, oh, it's not fair and blah, 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 but I always want to see the why of it. What's really going on from an energetic point of view, and what's really going on from a universal point of view. And I mean, spiritually. And that's what I'm seeing going on too. It's just, and the other thing is, I said to my son the other day, he was telling me, like, well, you just throw that away. We were talking about something, dismissible, like cans or something. And I said, I can't. I said, I can't. I can't do it. Because I recycle everything, Sean. I always have. Always have. If I'm finished with a blouse, I clean it up, put it in the box, And it's because, and then I was reading earlier that it's the earth, we are so dismissible about the earth. And in my soul, I can't do it. I have to recycle everything I can because I feel it's the way we honor the earth instead of just taking. So that's a change. I mean, not that I've not always done it, but I mean, I feel like it's just important. It's a very important thing. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't recycle. I'm not going to recycle. Well, it's too much trouble. I go, but I think that comes back. I think that comes back to people if they don't honor everything in their life, That's my thought.
To build, to add to something you said earlier about, Hollywood and those things. Couple of observations. Well, maybe these are more assumptions because they're not based on facts.
Yeah.
Just a gut feeling and observations. I wonder whether, again, more outputs from the pandemic. I wonder whether, as a society, it almost feels like we are challenging the norms. And also another observation is it feels like in some areas, some domains, like it's having an equalizing effect.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that energy stream that we're still experiencing. That energy stream it's now taking form in this way or that way. But it's an energy that we're still experiencing and participating in. And if we just be aware, we'll notice it in every different way. And also with every person is in some way affected. And I personally see it as good because we do need to equalize and we do need to balance. The word balance comes into my mind a lot. So I think a lot of it is people, everybody in general, but people life balancing, because we haven't been all that good to nature, or or if we assume that somebody should work for less than we do. I mean, that doesn't seem quite fair.
So, Jean, before I summarize all of your wonderful nuggets of wisdom,
Okay.
You always have exciting projects going on the horizon.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you can share with me and with us what excites you these days, what you're currently
Yeah.
working on, and what's on the horizon, so we can all look forward to
Okay, I've got one.
that.
So one of the gals that I worked with was asking me a lot of questions about Earth School. And she was even it was she was telling me where she was. I mean, her questions was definitely reflecting where she was coming from, which I was very grateful for, because I thought she's talking to me like a regular person, because I'm not a regular person. And so she's giving me a glimpse into that world, you know. But she said, is there a punishment? Is Earth School a punishment? And I went, whoa. I said, it actually is the opposite. It's a privilege. But then the whole thing got me started with this idea of Earth School. And then ideas kept coming in, and so I have a folder, it's called Earth School. I have a folder, I'm keeping all these notes because I think this would make a marvelous book. You know, I had a great title. I don't remember it right now, but it's in my folder. But it's something about how to manage Earth School and ultimately graduate, or something like that. And I just want to give people a different insight about what we're here to do. How we started out in love, and we need to bring ourselves back to love, because we were trained in many different ways that are not loving. And so I feel like Earth School, that whole topic of Earth School, would be a great way to kind of bring this to the fore, you know. And so I'm just keeping notes right now, and at some point I'll be able to formulate this into a table of contents, you know, and begin the writing process. So, but that's a project that I'm kind of I laugh about it at the same time that I am having a good time with it. You know, I'm having a good time with it because I feel it can change how it can help people change the way they view things, and that's what I'm here to do anyway. So it's just the next aspect. What do you think of that? Earth School.
I love it. I love the name.
Yeah, her questions were so revealing. I thought, oh my gosh, this is how people think, you know. And so, you know, this my opportunity then is to maybe cut through some of that and give them just another way to look at things, so that they could take advantage of Earth School and find some humor in it. I mean, the Course in Miracles says we have to laugh more. And I just agree with that so much, because we make this so serious, and it's really not. If you don't make it on this turn of events, you know, doing this thing, then you'll get another opportunity, another opportunity, another opportunity. You know, it's just you have endless opportunities to figure things out, you know, and have some fun with it along the way.
That's one thing I know that I always look forward to. Well, one of the many things I look forward to speaking with you is just your awesome sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do laugh. I laugh at some of the stuff that goes on. Sometimes people tell me these stories and I just start laughing, and they're looking at me like, "What?" And I'm going, "Oh my God, that's so funny." And then I get to share with them why it's so funny, and then they're laughing, where before they were like, "Oh my, you know, life is really terrible," and you know, and so that's a really fun thing to watch people transform in front of you. And I call that a transformation, because you were there and now you're here, you know. So that's good stuff.
Jean, I am going to summarize all of your
Okay.
wonderful nuggets of wisdom.
Okay. I love
So
your summaries, by the way.
I know I missed several, but I hope I caught the key ones.
Oh yeah.
That everything is in alignment, the
Mm-hmm.
universe is guiding us. All we have to do is ask
Mm-hmm.
for us to keep it simple, to accept what is, and last but not least, to bring ourselves back to love.
Yes.
We want to stay connected with you because we're excited about your books, your
Yeah.
services, and the most exciting thing that I just heard about a minute ago, Earth School.
Yes.
So if you would, yeah, please tell us how we can stay connected with you before we say goodbye.
Yes, indeed. Well, I love being connected to people. It's my thing. And you can people can always reach me through my website. It's at spiritualtransformation.com. And of course, all my contact numbers are on there, but you can always call my number at 314-566-5231. And then I'll say that again because I really mess it up. 566-5231. It's a 314 number. But anyway, just email me too, Jean at Spiritual Transformation. I'm there and I'll answer your questions and we can play together. We can play together. We can do the dance of life together, you know?
Dance of life, celebration.
Yeah. Yes, I got to put that in my book, by the way. Because that's really what it amounts to, you know. When we look back, I think when we look back, we go, there were some really funny things and I forgot to laugh.
Absolutely. Jean, it was so much fun creating another episode of Unlocking Your Brilliance with you. And I want to wish you the very best.
Thank you and you too, Sean. Have fun with this. You're in a new lighter state, and I don't know what all is going to be coming for you, but there's something new coming in, and enjoy it. Really look at it from every point of view, and see what is trying to tell you.
Thank you, Jean. Bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.